What a mess! What could have done this? What was that? What are these things?
It was the year 1998. The gradual switch over from 16-bit cartridges to 64-bit ones was well underway with the release of the Nintendo 64 2 years before in North America, and the introduction of the console to Europe, Australia, and Brazil was welcomed with open arms. Along with the advent of the system came the soaring popularity of one of my favorite game genres, survival horror. With graphics improving, the detail and quality of gratuitous violence that so many gamers crave like a zombie to human brains left many gamers stunned in their tracks. Gaming giants Capcom caught onto the trend and decided to give the genre a shot while still in its infancy. The most well-known title probably being Alone in the Dark, followed by lesser-known games like Dr. Hauser for the 3DO and the Japanese point-and-click adventure Clock Tower, The First Fear for the Super Famicom. But few gamers today would not consider it blasphemy to say that anything comes close to the Resident Evil series. And in 1998, Capcom galvanized this fact with the release of their first sequel to the great zombie shooter saga, Resident Evil 2, first conceived for the PlayStation and ported later to the Nintendo 64, considered widely to be the best port. When it comes to my experience with Resident Evil games, I'll admit I worked backwards from Resident Evil 4 for the PS2, and have been comparing both old and new titles accordingly. Needless to say, when I fired up Resident Evil 2, I found myself in a familiar place. An urban setting totally devastated by a zombie blitzkrieg, accompanied by an eerie, ethereal musical score, and gritty 3D graphics that almost looked like they were splashed on an oil canvas. The third-person perspective is central to your experience with this game, allowing you to feel totally in control of the two playable characters. The inexperienced but wily rookie cop with a fashionable hairdo, Leon Kennedy, and the undisputed queen of the Resident Evil series, Claire Redfield. The experience playing this game with the Nintendo 64 controller was first a little disorienting, probably because I was using the joystick, so I felt more in control of my actions with the D-pad, using the B button to toggle my running, and the right bumper to aim my weapon using A to shoot. Resident Evil 2 has positive reviews to this day for probably one simple reason. It deviates little from what people loved about the first one. You'll come across crates full of important items like first aid and ammunition, and to be sure, there's little that gets me more scared than the fact that those foot-shuffling, diseased mutant freaks are always ready to munch on your corpse like a Thanksgiving turkey. The fear factor aside, I'd say that the survivalist tactics you must use in this game is what turned me onto the series so easily. There's nothing like pulling your resources together when you're grasping your half-eaten side and running into a flaming building full of flesh-eating zombies, hoping that you'll run across first aid sprays and boxes of bullets, then eventually finding your way out of there unscathed. As I mentioned before, Resident Evil 4 was my litmus test for the entire series, but after playing through the second, dare I say that I've changed my mind? After all, were it not for this superior survival horror sequel, Leon Kennedy would probably still be on desk duty in Raccoon City, instead of saving the president's daughter.